No one has been able to hear anything.
Oh, no.
It's true. They have not heard anything. I don't know if they've ever heard anything because the microphones were turned down. So now the microphones are on. Let's try this all over again. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service. My colleagues are with me. They're from the Toronto Police Recruiting or Talent Acquisition Unit.
There you go.
New names for things. At the end of the day, it's about becoming a member of the Toronto Police Service. That's what we're talking about today. This is episode 6 of TPS Traffic Jam. Again, normally talking about traffic law and traffic safety. Today we're talking about becoming a member of the police service so you can come work with us and possibly one day become a traffic officer, but not necessarily a requirement, just something I like.
Yeah, exactly. My name is Police Constable Ashley Visser. I am a member of our recruiting team, and this handsome gentleman beside me is
Constable Cedrin Dean.
And he is also a part of our recruiting team. Cedrin and I go around to different events, community outreach. We motivate members of the public, maybe who have questions or how to become police officers and the process. So we're out within the community. We also do not as advanced social media things as Sean, but we were invited here to participate. So, if we are at your beck and call, so if you do have any questions about the application process, the hiring process, if you're just getting started and have no idea where to start, we are great resources to speak to and to reach out to. Just for some of you who don't know, we are actively hiring for the foreseeable future. We're looking to get 120 new cadets for August class and then move along and get another 120 for December's class. So we are actively out there, looking for you who, have those qualities and don't know really where to start. So hopefully we can answer some of those questions today.
And we do have questions. So
amazing.
we got confirmation from Big Jeff Fresh, one of our regular viewers and participants on our show. Says that we're good to go for audio. He hears us. Now we have a bunch of questions, some that we talked about before we actually pressed the big button to go live on all platforms. And the first question was, do you have to be a Canadian citizen to be a member of the police service here, or can you be a foreigner, as they specifically asked?
Well, to become a member of our service, in terms of a uniform role, you must be a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident. Those are the two minimum requirements.
So someone who's here and has that status can then apply. And I know police officers who have retired and never actually become a citizen. So they were permanent residents the entire time and had incredible careers. One retired recently as a staff sergeant. So it's totally possible. You don't have to be a citizen.
No, you don't.
And that's different because in the United States, you have to be a citizen in order to be a sworn officer in the majority of states.
Oh, wow. Wow.
See, we're cooler. No. What do we got here? Okay, I'm not going to get into questions about traffic because although that's normally what we do. We did it for an hour this morning from 10 to 11, and so I apologize if I ignore your question about traffic. It's because we really want to focus on employment questions about becoming a member of the service. So, can we apply in police if we have suspended license twice for non-payment of tickets?
Ooh. That's a great question.
It is.
So basically what we look for when you do apply to the service is you disclose everything up front. We don't want to see anybody trying to hide some indiscretions that they might have had, and we want to see self-improvement and growth. So, say you were young when those happened. Say you were a new driver. You were 16, 17, 18, and now you're 30, and, this hasn't happened in quite some time. You will be expected probably to have a conversation with a background officer in terms of like what you did to get those tickets and, why weren't they paid. But, if you have really reflected on yourself and you've grown, that's one of our core competencies, reflecting and growing. Hey, there you go. And you are able to articulate, that was the old you, you have really grown up and been more mature, then by all means, that wouldn't be something that completely disqualify you from the application process, but be prepared to have an answer and to be articulate why you got those tickets in the past.
I think that's a big thing, being able to discuss where you were at the time, what you learned from the experience. It's all a discussion. Everything's fluid.
That's right. And the whole hiring process, right? We are looking for people with lived and life experience. So only you have that unique experience. So we like to see that. We like to see what you've gone through, how you've overcome it, what your resiliency is like. And, those are traits that only you possess when you get hired and you are serving the people of Toronto. And, Toronto's a diverse community, and we want officers to emulate and, be able to, understand the members that they serve. So that's just chalked up to life experience. And as long as that risky behavior isn't
Part of your history.
That's right.
It's part of the past.
That's right.
We talk about traffic all the time. That's what we do on traffic services. And people talk about why is it important to follow the laws of the road? Why is it important? Well, if your driving record stinks because you don't respect the laws, how can we then hire you to become a police officer to then enforce those laws?
Correct.
Exactly.
So everything you do and everything you've ever done reflects and paints a picture of who you are today.
Correct.
And if you can articulate that it's not who you are anymore, that's on you to articulate.
That's right.
I like that. Question about, where do we go? It keeps scrolling. Lots of questions coming in, so that's awesome. How's the family and work balance while working as a police officer in terms of work shifts?
So maybe, Cedric, you want to answer that first, and then I can answer the second one, because we both have very, very different experiences with our families.
Exactly. Not too much about myself, but I was a young father at the time I came on the service. I had to balance both, of course, parenting, being a co-parent, as well as the new. But as long as you have family support, you have a good support system, it makes things much easier. As with any industry, whether it be policing, fire, other emergency service, finance, whatnot, in its own way, just be able to manage it with your support system is key.
I want to give you this question, but I don't know what the acronym for CJ represents. It says, I'm finishing my CJ diploma this August. Do you recommend TPS for a new recruit?
So I think he or
Canadian
she...
justice, criminal justice?
Criminal justice. That's what I'm going to assume. Folks, we've removed the basic minimum requirement of having any post-secondary education. However, that being said, just because it's not a minimum requirement doesn't mean it's an advantageous to not to complete your education. So in your case, you are graduating from university or college, or there could be a few of you here today. Apply. As long as you have those life experiences to be able to articulate to us during your interview, we encourage anybody to apply when they're ready. And being ready isn't just, having the basic minimum requirements. It's also having that life experience, that family support. Being a police officer, like Cedric says, you have to balance it between life, personal life, family life, work life. And as long as you have those supports ready to go, and, you're really ready to commit to not only the application process, because that takes a long time, but also the training process, which takes up to 26 weeks. And then, your 30-year career. And you are going to have to make sacrifices. So when you're ready to pull that trigger sorry, that's a bad pun. But when you're ready to, apply
to make that move.
Yeah, to come into the service. You do it when you're ready. I can't sit here and tell you when you're going to be ready. Sean can't, and Cedric can't. When you are ready, mentally, physically, and emotionally, and you have those supports in place, by all means.
It's a very individual experience. I had just gotten married. I was already a member of the service. I joined in 2000. I was an auxiliary officer. I was a court officer, and I traded 2 uniforms to get 1. And I had just gotten married. I left a very regulated Monday to Friday life as a court supervisor, and then went off to the college and left my bride at home for like 6 months,
right.
or however long that. How long was it?
Yeah,
OPC?
so OPC's 3 months.
3 months.
Still
3
3
months.
months. Yeah.
And then then getting into shift work, and it was different. Now I have kids. Now it's different. So it is a very different experience than pretty much any other job out there, as far as I can tell.
Yes.
And how the work-life balance is going to be up to you to some degree. I mean, aside from shift work where you have no control, but you keep your friends that you had before. Some people have all cop friends. They have a different lifestyle than someone who has no cop friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's totally different. But it's a phenomenal opportunity, both as a career and for me, a lifestyle. I really enjoy what I do, and it gives me an opportunity to give back to the community, and it's important to me. But everyone has a different experience.
Totally. Yeah, totally. When I got hired, I was 25 right out of university. So I left university and went right to OPC. So it just was like my post-secondary career was just continuing. Cedric came from another career and, made the leap into policing. So, again, we all have different journeys. And, just to repeat what I said, when you're ready, you come on, put in that application, and you'll be evaluated like everybody else.
For sure. Mm-hmm. And something just to touch on, because I talk about this a lot. People say, "What should I take to apply?"
Yeah.
And criminal justice is great, and people talk about police foundations, and I always say, even if you were an accountant,
great.
That's a tremendous skill that we wouldn't have.
Totally.
And it would make us a more diverse and skilled service to be able to. We have a financial crimes division.
Yep.
Accounting would be a huge asset.
Huge. Yep. And when we say post-secondary, folks, you got to remember, we take about 6,000 applications every year for the role of police constable, and we maybe hire 300. So it's always good to have some sort of backup plan. So, and when we have these conversations with people who, Ash, Cedrin, like, what should I take in post-secondary? Whatever interests you. And this also goes for your job and volunteer. Do what interests you, because when you go to school, you go to work, you do your volunteer hours, you're going to put in more effort because you have a passion for it. If you're just doing something to fill the time and, it's going to look good on my resume, you're not going to put the effort in. If it's something that you're passionate about, you're going to put 110%. You are going to show up early for your shift or stay late. You are going to, take an extra course or maybe get involved in your school community. So make sure you're doing something that you have a passion in. And, if it eventually leads to policing, great. But if it doesn't, it also could be your backup plan if you don't get it.
Doing something you don't like, that you're not really into, you're not going to have good results. It's going to reflect in every way in the thing you do. Like, I love the traffic gig. Not everybody wants to be a traffic officer, and I can respect that. Not everybody wants to be doing the cool stuff. Some people want to be ETF or something. I don't know, boring things like that. But it's going to be a different job, and it is what you make it. It's a pathway. You can have many different careers within, or many different jobs within the career of policing, and it's so cool. Like, I started as a volunteer. I loved it so much. I became a court officer. Did that for 12 years. I had rank reviews and changed. I became a supervisor. And again, once you become a police officer, there's opportunities for advancement. Maybe we could talk about how things work in the first couple of years. Or
Sure, Cedric, you want to go?
Oh, sure. With regards to, of course, when you get your badge, you graduate from Toronto Police College, you become a 4th class constable. In that time, you're trained with a coach officer. You go trained in traffic services, in the community patrol, or the bike unit in the community response unit, as well as the criminal investigative bureau handling cases and so forth. Each year, you're reclassified ultimately to 1st class, whereas you can then become eligible to apply for other roles, whether it be investigative, whatnot. Keep in mind that each role has prerequisites in terms of your experience, whether it be investigative experience, whatnot. But at that time, you can, the world is yours, basically. You can drive a boat, you can ride a horse, you can have a dog. You can do so many different things with this service. That's why it's a great opportunity to join.
Oh, yeah. Well, in so many ways. I used to get paid to ride a motorcycle. Where can you go and get paid to ride a motorcycle?
Exactly.
I was living my childhood dream, like being a CHIPS officer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also, too, like, we are getting paid right now to have this conversation with you. I never thought that I would be getting paid to have a conversation on TikTok, right? And it just goes to show that there are so many different roles within the service. And just to touch base on what Cedrin said, we also have the Toronto Police College. So that's an internal, basically, college that where we teach you, different traits and different skills that you're going to need to apply to those, roles for like Marine unit, homicide, sex crimes, hold up, all those, I call them sexy units, like, the ones that like people see on TV and they're like, ooh, I want to be ETF, or we call it ETF, folks. It's not SWAT. So just so you know, and, we have those abilities to train in-house because, the Toronto Police Service is so large, and we do have those resources to train, to educate, and throughout your career, you're always furthering your knowledge and bettering your knowledge in certain topics in issues of study, especially at the Toronto Police College. We're very fortunate enough to do that all in-house.
Absolutely. We become specialists, and in many cases, we have world leaders in areas of investigation, and people that used to work here speak in media and are experts that train other police services. It's amazing. It's a lifelong thing. We have a great question that I keep scrolling back to, and it was a question about if the Toronto Police recruiting unit deems military experience as experienced officer status. I'm trying to get the exact wording.
Yeah. So if you are a military police, that used to be a lateral. In all honesty, I would have to clarify that. So my email address, for those of you who are listening, is the letter B as in Bob, 10559 at torontopolice.on.ca. So if that person wants to reach out, send me an email. I can look into that answer for you. Because honestly, I don't know. Maybe Cedrin, do you know?
But also on our website, there is a listing, if you go to careers, a listing of services that we actually do take for experienced officers.
Yeah.
So have a look there. If you are not there, like Ashley said, send an email. We can definitely get the answer for you.
Mm-hmm.
We have so many great questions. I'm just going to copy these over here. There was a question about, let's see here. If I apply, can I get to go on TikTok too?
Well, that's up to this man right here. He is the gatekeeper for this TikTok platform.
But we do have officers who are trained in
Yes,
social media
yes,
in general,
yes.
although I don't think anybody else is really on TikTok yet.
No, just you. I think you're the pioneer.
The pioneer.
Yeah.
Do I get a special hat?
Yes, I will
Okay.
get you one.
Okay. So we talked about that. There's some safety. So just a reminder, we're not doing traffic questions here. It's all about becoming a member of the Toronto Police Service, recruiting.
So also, just to make mention, because this is a great platform, folks, if you are, interested in policing and you're really like, oh my God, I know there's like so much fitness involved. Every Monday we have I like to call it an open house. It's called Motivational Mondays. And what happens is we ask you all to sign up online. It's from 2:30 to 5:30. And what it is it's an open house. And basically you'll come on into the Toronto Police College. We give you access to the prep test and we allow you to run the shuttle run to whatever your level of fitness is and basically get a real life, free interaction with the equipment, with the fitness standards. So you know what to work on, how to improve yourself or where you are in terms of the standard of applying. Also, all the members of usually the recruiting team are there. We also have members of our internal support networks who come on out and they are there for mentoring. And, if you have any questions about, specific units that they're working in, they are all there to answer your questions and they are at your disposal. Our first week we had almost 100 people there. It was very overwhelming. We didn't know what type of feedback we were going to have, but usually we have about, 30 to 40 people every Monday. We do request that you do sign up online the week before. And to keep things moving, we have, the last Monday of every month is women's only.
That's correct.
And then, and then the other Mondays of the month are open to whoever wants to attend. So it's Mondays from 2:30 to 5:30, and you get to speak members of the recruiting team, other mentors that attend, as well as try out all of our fitness equipment.
There's a question here. It says, is there an age group for applying? Is there a range of ages where you're eligible versus not?
No, there's not. Like we said earlier, I'm not sure if we're on the audio, but there is no age ceiling. The minimum age to apply is 18. In all honesty, I've never seen anyone 18 years of age hired in my years in the job. This is my 17th year of the service. We do look for those who have life experience, and majority of the time, at 18 years of age, you don't have adequate life experience, let's say. But like I said, there is no ceiling.
Is there an average age where people tend to be hired?
There's no average age. From what I've seen recently, mid to late 20s, early 30s, I've seen hired for the most part, but there is technically no average.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And when I came through, when I transitioned, I was, I think 38. Mm-hmm. And I had people in their 50s in my class.
Yeah, same. So I was 25 when I got hired, and we had a lot of people that were 49, in their 40s. And so it just depends. Like, if you can meet those basic minimum requirements and you have that life experience to tell us and show us how you emulate the Toronto Police Corps competencies, you can come on out and apply.
A follow-up for that Canadian military question for military police. Apparently it is listed on the career section. He went and looked it up based on your profession.
There you go.
Perfect.
Win, point to you.
Yeah.
Question was, would any type of online presence affect my ability to apply and go through the hiring process?
Well, every applicant is assessed on an individual basis. So, as Ashley said before, you disclose everything when you apply to our service. We would definitely ask you with regards to what your presence is online. We do our own research through your background and go from there. I couldn't just tell you off the cusp, unfortunately, in terms of your experience, and I don't think we should share it on just for privacy and so forth. We shouldn't share it online. But once again, everyone is assessed individually.
Well, I can tell you that I did, when I was a court officer, I had friends who were applying and they were scrutinized. Pictures that drew a lot of questions. They had to be able to articulate, to justify why certain things were done. In some cases, people were denied because they had some things that suggested maybe illegal activity or... So it could be a problem, but it depends on an individual basis.
Yes.
Do you have to live in the GTA to apply?
So no, you can apply from anywhere, as long as you're able to attend the in-person sessions and you're able to commit to the Toronto Police Service once you have been hired. You don't have to live even in the province to apply. We have a lot of applicants that come from Quebec, who put their applications in. They, come in for their shuttle run testing, their in-person blended interview testing. But you eventually will have to, move to be able to travel, to the Toronto Police college to do your training, and eventually the divisions where you will be assigned and work out of. We will not fly you in. That's been a question, and we do not provide accommodation. We don't
But
do
I have
that.
heard that you will book certain things together to make it easier for someone traveling to try and work with you to make it a shorter trip.
Yeah, so that would have to go through our staffing advisors as recruiters.
That may be in a lateral in that situation.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
But someone recently reached out to me and was telling me that.
Well, that was nice of us.
Yeah, you guys are really
Nice.
awesome.
There you go. Yes, we do that. No, I in all honesty, I that would be a logistical nightmare for us to try to facilitate because we're barely in the office. But yeah, so just keep in mind, folks, just to, I don't know if you've noticed the underlying theme when we were asked about traffic tickets, when we were asked about social media presence, be open and honest. And, be open and honest throughout the entire process. Your past is your past, and just basically what you can learn from it and how you've developed into the person you are now, to be able to police the city of Toronto. So just keep that open and honesty and those lines of communication open with, your background officer when you get to that stage in the application process, and even up front with us, and we can, assist you if you do have any hesitations. And we like to say, don't screen yourself out before you're actually screened out. Reach out to us, talk to us. This is our job. This is what we are paid to do, to be there for you, to help you, to mentor you, to guide you through this process. It's long, it's confusing.
I like that you said that because so many people, they what is it? There's a term for it that doesn't come to mind right now, but they make the assumption that they won't make it, they can't do it, and you know what, you can. And if there's a reason, let us tell you, don't take yourself out of the
Exactly.
game,
Yeah.
because you could be the next police officer hired.
But we assist you. We give you all the tools, folks. We help you out. We have these fitness sessions for you to do when you get through the application process and you're going in for your interview. We do interview prep. We do mentoring for you. We want you set up to, be the best version of yourself when you come in.
Setting you up for success.
That's right. We don't want to see you fail. We want to see you pass just as bad as you want to pass. We want, those people who want to be traffic officers, who want to be homicide detectives. We want you guys all out policing the city. So we will help you out as much as we can. We will give you the tools, and whatever you do with them is up to you. But we are here for you.
I got some great questions that came
Yeah.
in from Julian. He's one of our regular viewers. He says, why did you want to become a constable with the Toronto Police Service? And he asks individually all three of us.
Perfect. Gentlemen?
I'll go first.
I talk about this all the time. I'll tie it up.
You know what? One thing for me, wasn't about just giving back to the community and so forth. I don't like to see people victimized who can't defend themselves, mainly the elderly and children. So I said, what could I do in the community and society, whereas I can help assist those individuals, hence becoming a police officer. I was in finance before, so it was a big change for me, but it's been a great change. Been the best career I've been in.
Was that later in life that you just decided, that, I want to try something? Or did you always have sort of at the back of your mind that you wanted to do this, but you ended up going in a different path?
A mix. I had a couple thoughts as a late teen. I didn't go for it. Stayed in finance, straight through, finishing college and so forth. But in my late 20s, about 27 years old, I said, I'll make a change. And I got hired when I was 29.
Awesome.
Yeah, so to be quite honest, I had no idea what I wanted to do. My parents said you had to go to university and college for something, so I decided to do police foundations.
Okay.
I thought, that job, it would be different every day. You get to talk to different people, hear people's different, life experiences. And, like I said, no 2 days were the same. And I'm very active, as you probably can tell. I'm a very chatty person. So why not get paid for being chatty and, helping people who are been falling on hard times? And you know what? Here I am. It's been 13 years, and I love every minute of it. And I can't believe that I have been lucky enough to work for the Toronto Police Service.
And was Toronto your first choice for both of you, or?
Yeah, for me, yeah.
So it's
Me as
funny.
well.
For me, I had I from a very young age wanted to be a police officer, possibly because I watched Chips as a kid. I have a cousin who was with the FBI. He's the cool cousin, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to do that, and then I had some really amazing school resource officers when I was in high school, and it just built and built. But I didn't go directly into policing. There was a challenge of getting through the fitness and doing all that, and I didn't have university when I first applied. So there were different things. I was in business and computers. I was a real estate agent. I did all sorts of things, and all those experiences ultimately made me a better candidate when I finally did apply. And I only applied once. I got hired, both as a PC and as a court officer. So I had positive experiences. Unfortunately, there was a freeze when I first applied, so I became an auxiliary, volunteered for a number of years. But not only did I volunteer, I had so much fun as a volunteer that I became a court officer. So I had different roles, and I again traded in 2 uniforms for one to become a police officer. But I've had such a diverse experience coming through, so I've loved every second of it too.
Yeah, I know. I think I've done things and seen things and met people that I don't think I ever would have met in any sort of other career.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I've had a very positive experience with the Toronto Police Service. Now, not everybody can say that, and that's fine, and we all respect that. No different than any other jobs that we've had, or in any other career. But for me, from my experience, I've been very lucky, and the Toronto Police Service has treated me very well.
They've paid for everything.
That's right.
My everything I drive and I live in, and they pay for it all. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a great job. They pay well, but that's not the reason I do it. It's because I enjoy it. I really do. I get up every day and I'm excited to get to work.
Yes.
And I'm not in a race to go home. Like I do what I do. And right now I'm in a unique position because I'm doing the social media stuff, and this is something I would have never guessed.
Yes.
I never in my wildest dreams would have assumed I'd be sitting on a microphone educating people on the internet about traffic law and traffic safety, or talking to you about recruiting. And just another example of how this could be different every day.
That's right. And we're very fortunate as recruiters. We wear many different hats. So today, we're sitting in front of this camera with you guys. But after this is completed, we go to the Toronto Police College. While we're at the Toronto Police College, we are facilitating all the shuttle runs for applicants with or who are trying to apply to the service. So that is the second stage after uploading your resume and cover letter on the Toronto Police website for applying for the role of police constable. It's coming in for level to run the shuttle run, and you have to achieve level 7. Cedric and I and our team, we go and administer those shuttle runs every Thursday, and we have been seeing great success since we have changed our shuttle run to the front end of the application process. So we're hoping that the 80 people that come out today, hopefully all 80 will be successful, and those of the ones that aren't, hopefully they work hard to get back at it and they're able to be successful soon and don the uniform.
Do you find that there's a lot of people who aren't successful after they've hired? Do most people succeed, or is there a high dropout? Or?
So we'd like to really encourage everybody to keep their fitness up. You can't it's not like university where you can cram a test in and all that information in a weekend and then perform really well on Monday. It's not like that with fitness. And any listeners who value their fitness, value their cardio, no, it's a journey. You have to practice. You have to try to make that time for those runs. And we do see at the end, unfortunately, when just before they sign on that dotted line to wear this uniform, unfortunately, we do have people who, for maybe no fault of their own, maybe they got injured, maybe there was a crisis within their family life and they weren't able to maintain their fitness. But there usually is about 1 or 2 or sometimes 3 people who unfortunately don't get that job opportunity because they can't pass the final fitness test, when they did at the beginning, but, they've let it slide for whatever reason at the end.
But at the same time, I've seen people who were injured during training that just because they were injured through no fault of their own, during the training something happened, they were kept on, they were able to retest.
Correct, yes.
And there was really that support to get them through.
Yeah, that's something completely different. If you've been hired by us and all of a sudden, you're at OPC and, torn your ACL or broke your ankle.
It was a torn ACL.
Yeah, so and if you were training and doing something, for your training, obviously we're not just gonna say see you later. No, they do come back. Obviously they're probably given a desk job, which isn't the most glamorous, but you know what? They're still a member of the service. They're still a member of their team. They still get to interact with us and other cadets. And then eventually, when they're healed and ready to go, they will redo their fitness. They do get brushed up on their use of force training, and then they'll get out to their divisions when they need to.
We've covered this a little bit, but since it's a question coming in live, it's are there requirements to join? Maybe have we talked about all the requirements? The vision, we haven't talked about a lot.
No, we haven't talked about the basics.
Maybe we can gloss over the basics.
Well, first, if you go to our website, everything's there for you at www.torontopolice.on.ca. Go to our careers portal, and you'll locate the minimum requirements. but I can tell you basically, you must be a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident. Your minimum age must be 18. But like I said before, I've never seen an 18-year-old hired unless it doesn't deter you from applying. You must have no criminal record for the criminal convictions, or no criminal convictions for if you have not had a pardon issued if necessary. You must have a valid Ontario G-Class driver's license with no more than 6 demerit points. You must be able to.
Do you still need to have a valid OACP certificate?
That's correct. So you
Yes.
do need to have a valid OACP certificate throughout the entire process. With that, the certificate is valid for 1 year. In the event that you get to the 10th month and you're in the process, gauge where you're at. Say, for example, you have not had your interview yet. It's a good idea to get it renewed. You don't want to get your offer to hire or get to the interview stage and your certificate's expired, right? So keep that in mind as well. Any more information on that, go to www.oecpcertificate.ca. There's more information there for you. With that, there's also a vision and hearing component. That itself, you must pass that as well. So your vision must be 20/40.
Binocular, right? Both
Uncorrected. Corrected must be both eyes. And corrected vision, whether it be laser surgery or whatnot, must be 20/20. You must also have a first aid and CPR level C certificate. That must be it's actually due upon being presented with your offer to hire, but it's a good practice to apply for it prior to applying to the service. We've had the pandemic recently, so there are some delays in getting that. So I always advise apply for it prior to applying to the service. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And my
in a
apologies.
nutshell.
And of course, as we said before, we mentioned completion of post-secondary schooling in Ontario or its equivalent. In the event you got into school outside of the province or our country, you can go to a company such as WES or WES to get an equivalency assessment for education.
Yeah.
Dan in the 6 says, I just want to be able to help others who have helped me and my family in the past. I want to give back and serve. That's a really noble reason to do it. It's also, on top of all those good things, it's also a really stable, great job. There's fantastic people in training and opportunities. Have you ever thought about going into tactical or specialty units?
Well, I actually thought about it some time ago prior to this. I was looking to go to the Marine unit. Unfortunately, I sustained a knee injury, had knee surgery and whatnot. And I said, well, you know what? I'll keep training because I'm really big in physical fitness, as is Ashley. But then this opportunity came up and it came here. And it's been amazing. So it's still on the back part of my mind. However, this here is my main gig right now.
And if you think about it, you're doing such an incredible job. You're helping people and ensuring the future of our service by finding good people and bringing them into a position so they can serve and help others. So,
Yes.
do you know how many officers you've been involved with recruiting over your time in the office?
Oh my gosh. We
Many.
don't. Yeah, we don't keep a lot of stats like that. Because I mean, even if you just reflect on our recruiting events, so we were at the Women's Show. There were like thousands of people at the Women's Show. Cedrin was at Halal Fest. There were thousands of people there. So we really, and then we're on social media and even on the Monday sessions, we do mentoring, the general information sessions that we do. There are, I don't want to say thousands, but probably thousands of people.
Most definitely.
Yeah, that we have spoken to in some sort of platform over the last few years. And hopefully, we have, encouraged and motivated and, ensured people had the right information to apply. And, hopefully they've gotten that career that they wanted. And like, Sean said, that stable career with benefits and, pension and overtime and paid vacation, paid sick leave.
Those are things a lot of people don't understand how it works. So, you do a full career with the Toronto Police and you get to your factor. And it's not just what you're getting paid today. It's the fact that when you retire, you have an income that continues.
Correct.
It's stable.
Yes.
And private sector is a very different game. I've worked in private sector and in the computer industry, and if you quit, you quit. It's done.
Yeah.
There's very little that happens to keep you in a good position. So I really appreciate that that not only is this job stable and fun and interesting, because every day is different. There's no planning for tomorrow's going to be exactly like it was yesterday, because you just can't predict. But there's a long-term plan.
That's right.
That many people don't think about.
That's right.
Not to mention the chance for promotion, promotional processes to the ranks of sergeant and above. So there's room to get into different, not only career paths and specialties, but management.
That's right.
Yes.
And not only that too, we get paid very well, and every so often, and there's an incremental, pay increase. Depending on what you're doing, if you're more an investigative police constable, or if you're on the road, there are incentives there. Like we do have those pay duty officers that still are are out there if they need some extra financial money to.
And that's something that you brought up that many people don't understand.
Overtime.
Oh yeah, there are tons of overtime callbacks.
Yeah.
There's opportunities to work, what you said, paid duties, which is where private companies contract off-duty members of the police service to come and fulfill things that they need whether it be because they feel more comfortable using police officers or because they're required by law because of the thing that they're doing. Tons of cool things. I used to work movie sets, and tactical officers used to come in to do all the firearms supervision. Because anytime a movie is going to be shooting ammunition, anything that sounds like gunshots, they have to have tactical officers there to ensure safety. And so there's tons of things. And what a cool way to make overtime or extra money.
Of course.
Met amazing people. Dan Aykroyd one day. Anyway, so many cool things.
Yeah.
So not everybody wants those, but if you want to do it, there's opportunities.
Of course, and I mean, we were speaking to one of the sergeants at the college last week, and she just came back from one of the concerts at the Budweiser stage. So, she did a pay duty there as well. So there's opportunities all over the city to do really cool things and, see the Leafs game and get paid for it. See a Jays game. Well, I mean, you're not going to actually watch it because you do have a job to do. But, have a glance here and there. But folks, it is a diverse career. Wherever, whatever path you see yourself taking, it's as long as you're motivated to work hard, you'll totally, get there as long as you have the motivation and the work ethic.
I think it's, as you said, it's what you put in is what you get out.
Correct.
If you come into a job, any job or any career, and you just hang out and show up and get a paycheck and go home, you do the minimum, you're going to have that kind of career and you're going to have that kind of reputation. But if you're a go-getter and you want to excel and you show up with a smile on your face and you're engaged, you're going to get that kind of positive. I know people that are miserable. I know people that are absolutely feel blessed every day. So it depends what you put in.
I totally agree.
I'll say one more thing to that though. We're one of the few companies that we actually support you in terms of your career advancement. We support you prior to coming in with regards to mentoring, fitness practice, whatnot prior to coming in, and in the service you support it as well. So it's a great thing.
100%. Somebody wanted to ask if security was a good asset as is work history.
So, security, of course. We like to see consistent employment. So if your consistent employment is security and you love it and you have a passion for it, then of course. But you know what? If your consistent employment is, working as customer service at Walmart and you love that job, then do it. The advantages of security, obviously, is maybe you're going to be able to work shift work. You understand that. You understand the uniform, your deportment, how to write notes in a memo book, that sort of thing. But even if you don't, we will teach you. The college will teach you how to be a police officer. I did not, Cedrin did not, and Sean, I'd like to say you did not come into this job knowing how to be a police officer.
We had our thoughts. I saw movies.
That's right. We saw movies, yeah. And it's nothing like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, folks. We get that question a lot. Nothing like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I think we're funnier, but whatever. But that's just me. But we will teach you how to be police officers. Obviously, there are some advantages of having, security or, courts or parking enforcement and special constable.
Being used to being a public figure, being in a uniform, standing in front of speaking to people, communication skills are huge. And not many people understand that being out there in a uniform, you're a billboard for information. You stand out there in a uniform and everybody and their cousins asking you where to buy lunch, where to pay for parking, what are the rules for everything. I mean, people are often amazed that I have answers to a lot of the questions we talk about on traffic service. Well, a lot of that came from writing those tickets and being out there and gaining the experience. But communication skills, the only way to get them is to get them, to learn on the road. So speaking to people and becoming comfortable with speaking with people you don't know, these are all things that you're not expected to have necessarily on day one, but you're going to get them.
And it's funny, we'll just touch base on what you said about being in uniform. So I think this is a good opportunity to let everybody know that the Toronto Police is looking to hire 30 to 40 parking enforcement officers for the fall. We're hoping to get that. We're hoping to get that posting up in the next week or two. This is the first really big, letting everybody know.
Secret stuff.
That's right. Get your OACP certificate ready. Ensure that you can get to level 4 on the shuttle run, and apply. We just closed our special special constable application. So hopefully that'll come back in the fall once parking enforcement is complete. But folks, there are tons of opportunities right now coming at you.
And we've spent a lot of time talking about police constable and just touched on briefly, but parking enforcement officers, they're uniformed civilians that go out and enforce parking regulations in the city, issuing tickets. So that's a big thing. And I work with Erin. We see Erin Urquhart all the time. She's
Over
sitting
there.
right over there. So you don't have to be a police officer to still come work for an amazing organization with benefits. It's not necessarily the same pay scale, but there's still great opportunities. And you can start there and move elsewhere.
Totally.
So if you're interested and may not meet the requirements for police constable, but could meet the requirements for parking officer or court officer or IT, we were hiring for IT for a long time. I think you said there were 2 positions available right now.
Yes, there are. So if you want to take a look at them, they're on their website. Just go to our careers portal, go to apply to join, go to civilian roles, and you'll locate them there.
And the application process when I became a member in every one of those capacities was 5,000 pages of paper that I printed on like a lead weight. I dropped it on the desk.
Yeah.
It's all electronic now, right?
All online. Relatively. So when you first say you want to apply to the service, you have to get that OACP certificate. And like Cedrin said, check out the OACP website. So it's oacpcertificate.ca.
That's correct.
And once you obtain that, you have to complete a resume and cover letter, and that is it. That's all you need to do to apply to the service right now.
Really?
Yeah, OACP, you upload your cover letter and resume. There's 30 questions in terms of, do you have your driver's license? Do you have your high school?
That seems a lot easier than
It's
it
a
was.
lot easier, my friend. However, you still have to fill out those monstrosity paperwork, but that's not until later in the process. We're gonna get you in, make sure that you can do that shuttle run before we're gonna ask you to either type it out or hand bomb all of that paperwork.
So now comparing what I did to what I'm hearing now, which is like, now this sounds like a walk in the park. No, it's not a walk in the park. It's still a challenge. But what I thought, and I often give advice, is that you want to make yourself the best candidate you can, whether it be by planning and taking effective steps to prepare yourself, whether it be by taking courses and studying or taking, even if you've been out of school for a while, taking a course, learning a language. What about languages? Are there languages that we're looking for?
Well, other languages are always an asset, given that we deal with various cross-sections of the community. You must, of course, be fluent in English, but anything else is definitely an asset.
And when I was hired, there were people who were fluent in English, but they wasn't their strongest language. They weren't born here. They became amazing police officers. So someone who doesn't have English as a first language, but is fluent or capable of speaking to meet the requirements, they shouldn't be dissuaded from coming.
No, they shouldn't.
You need people who speak all languages.
Correct.
You are an incredible asset.
Yes.
In fact, in my class, I don't remember the language it was, but they were the first person in the service to speak that language.
Wow. Yeah, and because Toronto in itself is so diverse. I mean, I only speak English, so I'm going to need those officers.
Still working on English.
Okay, well, there you go.
Some
You're doing
days.
great. You're doing
Thank
great.
you.
Bro. And so I always needed the assistance because when I was in 33, we had a lot of Cantonese speaking, victims or, witnesses. And, so we always had to reach out to those officers. And anybody who speaks another language will always be utilized. And that will be a huge asset. And no matter what division they work in. And just because, say I was in 33 and I needed another officer who spoke a different language, I could call out to 52 and they would have to take that road trip up to North York to help me out.
Someone brought up, and I apologize, I keep looking off the screen because I'm reading questions that are coming in on TikTok, and a couple of things on that. One, we're currently using portrait mode, landscape mode on TikTok. It's something we never do, but we're doing it because we have 3 people and we want to all be seen and we want you to see us. So I apologize that you have to turn your phone sideways to see us. But the question was, in relation to paying for OPC, we never talked about that.
Yes.
It's fantastic. Thank you for the viewer who
I saw
watched
that one. Do you want me?
Sure.
Yeah.
The current cost for OPC is $14,850. Wow. However, if you have the funds, you want to pay for it out of your own funds, that's fine. But we do have an option to finance it through the Police Credit Union. Basically, it'll come off your check bi-weekly and makes it much easier to pay.
Yeah, and to jump on what Cedrin was saying, folks, remember when you get hired with us, you start getting paid as soon as you start training. So you're getting paid as a cadet in training. So when you do your first 3 weeks at the Toronto Police College, and then your 12 weeks at OPC, and then your 8 weeks at
Nine back in
sorry
college.
9 following weeks post OPC, you're getting paid. Your training is paid for. So I know it sounds like a lot of money, but remember that OPC payment, that's so when you are at OPC, that pays for your food, your room, your board, your uniform, the gas in the cars that you'll be using for training, the ammo for the firearms that you'll be shooting. So it pays for a lot. It's not like you're paying 15 grand and you still have to buy your books and you still have to pay for your meals. It's not like that.
How many jobs can you go and make money on day one without?
Exactly.
I don't know of any.
Yeah,
I maybe the military.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And cadet in training, I've just pulled it up on the
Yeah.
website right now. 67,680 while you're going through that. That's a
Correct.
tremendous salary.
Yeah.
I think it was somewhere in the vicinity of 50 something when I came on.
Mine was, I think it was less. No, because mine was like 49.
Or maybe I remember I took a $25,000 or $28,000 pay cut
Yeah.
to come.
Yeah.
And it was and that was as a member of the service.
Yeah.
I lost because I was a supervisor
Yes.
then, so it was a
Oh,
big
yeah.
it was a
Yeah,
big drop.
big drop, yeah.
But once you graduate and you get your badge, you finish all that, it jumps up to 75,218.
Yes.
Money is nice, but and that's why I bring it up. It's not the most important
No.
thing, but it's certainly something that people who are making a decision as to what their next steps are, they need to know. So it's cadet in training for that roughly 6 months. No, 3.5. My
6
numbers.
months, yeah.
6 months
6
total.
months.
6 months, yeah.
Pre and post, and then
Yeah.
so 3 and 3, 6 months.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then fourth class constable. How long are you that?
1 year.
1 year. Okay.
From your hiring date. So if you got hired, say we're hiring for the August class. So say your hiring date, your signing date is August 1st. So the following August 1st, you'd be fourth class. The following August 1st, you'd be third class. The following August, you can see the trend until you get to first class. With that, you don't get any trouble, or there's something wrong with your probation. Say you're struggling and you need some additional training. You might be held back a couple of months.
So and you go from cadet to fourth class, then third, then considered a fully. That's as high as you go as a police constable.
Correct.
Okay, and that according to the website, $107,456 is now what the first class constable salary is after you've finished all of your graduation.
That's right. And remember, you do that. Those numbers change January 1st and July 1st, as well as when you're on the road in a uniform capacity, you do get paid a little bit more. And then if you are a detective constable, so you say you're helping out in the homicide unit or you're in the CIB, the Criminal Investigation Bureau, you do get a little bit more than that. So there's always ways that number is that's like the base.
Sure.
That doesn't include your overtime. That doesn't include your pay
Potential
duties.
pay duties, yeah.
So
And something people may not know is that we don't buy our uniforms. NYPD, you have to go buy your own uniforms.
Really?
Yeah, tax free, but you buy your own uniforms. You buy your own handcuffs. You buy your own gun. You buy everything you buy. It's not issued.
Wow.
And then but for us, everything is issued. You bring your socks and underwear and basically show up.
That's right.
Even the boots, everything is covered. When you work in a CIB, a Criminal Investigation Bureau, there's an allowance for buying clothes because
Yes.
you're not getting the benefit of a uniform. Now they're going to give you a subsidy of the money they would have spent on a uniform. It now goes into clothing allowance. So it's very interesting.
Yes.
Things that many people don't know.
Yeah. So there's a question here that makes me laugh. What's the youngest, probably youngest applicant that we've ever hired? The youngest I've seen has been 20. I haven't seen anybody under 20. I don't know, maybe Cedrin has different experience.
About around there,
Yeah.
2021.
Yeah, so I haven't seen anybody under the age of 20 been hired. That doesn't mean it hasn't happened. Okay, let me just say that. But just in my experience, I have not seen anybody under the age of 20, which I still think is very young.
Sure.
Because I don't think I could have ever been hired at 20.
Well,
I needed some more time to grow.
I've always heard people who applied at the beginning, and I don't want to dissuade people. If you're 20, apply because
Yeah.
you never know, you might get hired.
For sure.
But know that you might not.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that you might be asked to go back and get some life experience. And
Yeah.
what does that mean? Well, get life experience. And there's no good instruction manual.
You know what? I think we're hiring parking enforcement. That might be a good step
Hey,
for a 20-year-old.
That is a good opportunity.
Yeah, and it could be a good option.
And auxiliary is another good option.
Yes.
It's a volunteer position, and volunteers. We didn't talk about volunteerism is huge when it comes to contributing to the communities that you want to serve. So having some level of volunteers, and I don't mean go show up once a week, and I don't know a good example of what you show up once a week for, but
Yeah.
something that you're actually actually committed to.
Correct.
Because just doing it to check a box isn't
Yes.
volunteerism.
Yes, and that's the thing that we'd like to tell people. People think, okay, I have to volunteer at a shelter or a food bank. You don't. If you have a passion for animals and you want to volunteer at your animal shelter or somewhere to give back, do it. Like I said, do what you feel passionate for, because you will represent yourself as well as anybody else if you are doing something that you have a passion for, and you will take those extra shifts. You will work extra hard. You'll come in early. You'll stay late.
Do something you enjoy.
And do something you enjoy, especially if it's if it's something that you're giving your own time for. So if you do something you hate, you ain't gonna put your best foot forward. Let me tell you.
That's no question about that. Yeah, if it's painful, it's not.
Yeah.
And again, you're going to be talking about these things.
Yes.
So, thinking about things as you do whatever you do, things that stick out in your mind. Make notes of things that happen to you in your life, as if you were writing a manuscript of your life. It's good to make notes of things that happen to you, so you can always come back and talk about them. What do we have here? We talked about the youngest part. So again, I'm looking over and looking at questions.
We talked about the youngest one.
We talked about speeding tickets. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, that, folks, there's 3 officers sitting in front of you today, virtually, of course, and, we all have very different experiences on how we are sitting here today. And, like Sean said, whatever motivates you and whatever path you want to take in your policing journey, whether it be, a civilian role or a policing role or a civilian uniform role, just do your best. A lot of questions that we get are, I don't want to be a police officer and I don't want to be in uniform. Well, the Toronto Police Service, at the end of the day, also runs like a business. So we also have roles for payroll, HR, labor, legal, IT. All those roles, come up on our website. Not as frequently, but if you are active and you really do have that drive to become a member of the service, maybe in an IT function.
Mechanics.
Oh, exactly, mechanics. It takes a lot of us to make this cog work, to make this wheel turn, so to speak.
Yeah, and we have civilians that we rely on. There's station duty operators. There are all sorts of positions that nobody thinks about when you talk about policing, but they make it work. Dispatchers, communications operators.
Yes.
They are really, without them, we can't do anything.
They're a backbone. And so, folks, our website just has been revamped. Some time to take the time, check it, click around opportunities have available, and some may actually shock you for those who have no desire to be in uniform. We get it, we respect that, but check out our civilian roles. It might actually, you may read the requirements and think, holy smokes, that's right up my alley. I think, I may apply for that role in IT or, an analyst or researcher. Those are all jobs that we...
Programming, there's so many different specialties.
So folks, don't just think Toronto Police Service, only police officers, only special constables, only parking enforcement. Far from it. Far, far from it.
Well, we have people in forensic science. We have a ton of specialties and things that I won't think of until we hit end on this live.
Right.
But yeah, just know that there's anything you want to get involved in, and I bet you if you came in and you could justify why we need something we don't currently do, there'd be a reason to get involved, and we'd get involved in that too. Like TikTok.
That's right.
Yeah, see? Yeah. There was a question about, are there any part-time parking positions?
Oof, no, we only hire for full-time.
Are court officers still part-time first?
Nope.
Oh, it's all full-time?
Yeah.
That's cool. I started as a part-time court officer.
Yes.
So now everybody's full-time right out of the gate.
Right out of
Very
the
cool.
gate.
That's good to know. Okay, what do we got here? We're approaching an hour very quickly, so we're going to shut it down shortly. But if you've got questions for any of us, please drop them in. I see that we've got Jess says communications and a thumbs up coming in from Facebook.
Yeah.
If I may add, we also conduct outreach with our communities. If any event organizers or community event organizers are online, feel free to contact us to appear, whether it be for an information session or just to come by and speak on behalf of our recruitment team. I'll be more than happy to do so. You can go online and email one of us directly. Myself, it's cedron.dean, so cedron.deane at torontopolice.on.ca. Email me. We're more than happy to reach out to you, and we can organize something.
So this particular, we've recorded live, which with the podcast, normally we don't go live, but I wanted to make sure we had the opportunity, and it's been great. We've had such great feedback and a lot of praise and a lot of great stuff that's come through that we didn't acknowledge because we're really trying to get as many questions answered as possible over the time that we have. But this video will be available on our YouTube channel, our Twitch channel, for replay afterwards. It'll be on all of the platforms, but the easiest place is YouTube, which is Traffic Services Toronto Police. You can find us there. We'll make it available so you can put it on the recruiting pages and link over to it. It's also going to be on a podcast format. It's hosted on Anchor, and Anchor then makes it available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So we're going to make it available everywhere so that you can get it and you can share it with friends and family. Maybe you know somebody that might want to become a member of the police service. Maybe there's someone whose life has changed during during COVID, and now they're looking for a change of career. This is the perfect opportunity to get involved with something new and exciting and a really great experience. At least, again, speaking for my own, it's been fabulous.
I agree.
So with that, I will make sure that when we repost this and finally publish it for replay, that we put all the lower thirds and all the contact information on the screen. But thank you so much for spending time with us, and thank you for spending time with us.
Yes.
Coming in,
Thank you for having us.
speaking.
Thank you for having us.
It's my pleasure,
Yeah.
and hopefully we can do this again sometime in the future. And,
Yeah, for sure.
and catch up, because we'll have new viewers and new questions, and take it on from there. Anything you want to leave anybody with besides?
Join now. We're hiring.
Yeah. Come on out, folks. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to call it. We're going to say we're going to shot 55 minutes 45 seconds. Again, thank you very much, everyone who stopped by to make this a successful episode.
Yes.